Hello, ADNC family. Emma Ansah here, and it is Tuesday, and we are live. And I have a special guest with me today, Derrick Williamson, and we're going to have a real serious conversation about what this young brother is going through. And let me tell you, family, he is going through it. Derrick Williamson, young Black entrepreneur residing out in Morgan County, has his own farm, his own sanctuary, an animal lover. Look at this. Just a wonderful human being, all round wonderful young man. And somehow, some way, the folks have stolen his farm, have stolen his sanctuary, animals displaced. And we're going to get into this conversation to understand exactly what happened here. Derrick, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Before we get started, just tell me, how are you doing? How are you doing? This is a lot. This is a
Well,
lot.
no, it is, and given the circumstances, I'm holding up. So given the circumstances, anybody that knows this story, you're seeing it on the internet, you know it's a lot that's here. So I'm just thankful to be able to still be telling the story, from above ground. So a win is a win.
Exactly. And let us just get into this. Let us start by I set the stage. I said that you were a
Mhm.
farm owner, sanctuary, a
Yeah.
wildlife sanctuary owner, lover of animals. You're
Oh, yeah.
doing wonderful things with animals. Tell us a little bit more about your businesses and all of that before we get started into what happened.
No,
Oh my
absolutely.
goodness.
So, and as Miss Emma said, my name is Derrick Williamson. A lot of you all know me as a young Black farmer out of Georgia. And what's neat about what I do is our business, our ministry is a preservation of life. Okay. From my business side of things, it's called The Way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters. And I believe that God has used animals and gives animals as 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 helpers, as ministers, and gives animals an ability to uniquely help people through therapy practice, okay, or through therapy initiatives. That gives people an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. And so, what my company is, or what we do, is we train animals how to safely minister to people and create that interaction. And then my nonprofit flips that concept, and then we teach humans how to minister to animals through wildlife rescue effort. So on one side, animals save the lives of humans, and on the other side, humans are trained to save the lives of animals through wildlife rescue initiatives. And so our facility, for those of you that have seen our facility online, you see that it encompasses a lot that's there. You know, it's 40 acres, right? And I begin to
And
do
40
building.
acres, how apropos, right?
I know,
40
right?
acres, okay? And
Yeah,
our
40
brothers
acres.
and sisters know what that means.
Exactly, exactly. So it was monumental to be able to sit in that context and to be able to launch the ministry and to do what we do for the preservation of life. I mean, I began to do building projects on the facility that will enhance the practice. For example, I did custom things like, a lot of people see my pool in the video. You know, I have the infinity fall pools with a stoned out jacuzzi on it. I converted all that to salt water so it's safer for human and animal skin, things like that. We made a lot of adjustments so that we can minister well. And I know that it's not a lot of people. That's what makes my story a little bit more bizarre, because a lot of people that look like me, all right, are not in this type of industry. And I know that when it comes to
That is true.
wildlife and animal therapy and rehabilitation, this is not an industry that we dominate in. And part of my job, my responsibility, is I want more people that look like me, all right, to get involved in this industry. It's not just a one place for people that look another way. It's a place for us too here. And a lot of us, and truth be told, the human animal interaction goes all the way back to pharaohs and the servals, the falcon, the native people with their falcons. Oh, I mean the indigenous people with their falcons. It goes on and on. So we have connection to animals, right? And then my job is to be able to just bring that together in a beautiful symbiotic relationship. That child with autism that can't escape the box we can help them. We can take that child with autism and we can get let that child pat the chinchilla with a two-finger touch and really sensory sensitivities. And also we can help that child escape the box because sometimes pharmaceutical drugs can't help that child connect to the world around him. But with an animal, God gives animals to minister on their own. They are the experts. We don't have to, it's something that God created them to do. And all we do is create that safe interaction, right? And so that's what my companies focus on, the preservation of life. That's why this battle has been so intense because year over year, I've had to remember that and not give up. I've had to fight against two police departments, four judges, two millionaire families, and a bunch of people in comment sections that have no clue what's going on, right? But I stayed the course because I know why I'm here. I know what I'm called to do, and I got to get back to perspective because the longer this fight goes on, that's one more animal that won't make it because they didn't get the help that needed. There's animals, I use deer all the time. A lot of you guys can relate to seeing a deer get hit by a vehicle. Okay, deer are hit by vehicle all the times, and in the springtime, when those fawns, sometimes those two baby fawns are watching their mom lay there on the side of the road, and she's never going to get back up again. That baby needs milk. That baby needs to learn how to be a adult deer in the wild, how to forage, and somebody has to teach that deer that. And with animal therapy, there's certain children and individuals that cannot connect to people, right? And they connect to animals, and we can help that individual get grounded again, deal with loneliness, anxiety, depression, PTSD. There's a ministry that happens there. And the longer I'm obstructed, it's not many people that operate in my context. That's why it's so important for people to get involved and learn this story. That's why I'm thankful for you, Miss Emma, having me on today so we can get into this and people can learn. It's bizarre, I get it, but this is 100% real. This is the nightmare that I live every single day, unfortunately. It's all
Yeah,
real.
and as an animal lover myself and a dog owner, I absolutely agree with what animals offer. I mean, they're offering in this
Yes.
support, the emotional support. We know that when it comes to dogs, they're emotional support dogs,
Yes.
So I
Yes.
absolutely agree. How many animals did you have on your sanctuary? We have a viewer that's
Yeah.
actually asking that.
Absolutely. So my facility encompassed over 116 animals on my facility. A lot
Wow.
of every animals as far as originating from Central and South America. A lot of you all seen my sloths. I have a Hoffman two-toed sloths. I've had kinkajous, Patagonian cavy maras, Asian water buffaloes, Highland cows. All I've and it's just a myriad of different animals, and it
I
was
love it.
intentional that way because I believe that different animals have a way to minister differently. So I've made sure to diversify the animal family so that different animals had different strong suits and different abilities when it comes to being able to minister to the different issues that people have, right? So it's
So
116.
that's amazing. I absolutely love that. 100 over 100 animals. So now, Derek, we're going to get into the crux of this, okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have this beautiful farm, Morgan
Yes.
County. We have a
Yeah.
5-year battle. We have this
Yeah.
wildlife sanctuary, and then we have this couple, the folks,
Yes.
as we like to call them,
Yeah.
who somehow managed to take this from you. Basically, not take, steal this from
Yeah.
you. So tell
Yeah.
us, how did we get to this point where they ended up taking over all that you worked for and own?
Yeah. The short answer to that is this right here. Unfortunately, they began to exploit, the situation there was because obviously I look a certain way in my context and they're older, mature, wealthy white people and they operated in that energy in the county that we were in and a lot of the people in power don't look like me. They look like them. A lot of them and they were able to manipulate them or even just align with them and cause the county and law enforcement and judges and all these people to collude together and conspire together to begin to rip my animal sanctuary, rip my animal family apart. Everything was by brutal might. None of it was legal. And as I've chronicalized on my pages, millions on millions on millions of views I put before the nation what these people did. Everything from doing things like criminal activities of deed fraud, things like the assault videos. I had to leave my home in an ambulance multiple times from assaults from these people. And one thing I want everybody to know is that yeah, it was a lot of litigation. We had a lot of litigation going on. So we're in court. It was a lot of court going on. I never stood a chance in court against these people in this small town. The judge that calls my house, the judge will be on the phone with officers are calling my house at 11 and 12, almost 11 and 12, almost midnight, and making decisions about things that you can't. And I posted videos of the judges on the phone with officers. I posted police reports where judges are interfering. Judges are not to interfere with law enforcement. When it gets before the judge deals with it then. But how an officer charged, what's happening on that scene, that is not the judge's concern. The judge, and then we know in my case, things went crazy because the judge that was keeping me off my land for so many years, I began to expose the fact that she didn't even have a law degree. This woman did not even have a Juris Doctorate. And by me telling you guys about it, and the people that are woke in the matter understood, like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. What's happening to this young man? You guys began to call and report and things like that and hold her accountable for her misconduct. And guess what she did? She came after me personally as a chief magistrate court judge. She recused herself off my case for a conflict of interest, and she came after me. I would later be charged with stalking a chief magistrate court judge. Right. And in the midst of this process, the judge that's been over my case all the years, a big judge, a superior court judge, right? The case went directly to his desk, right? The one that presides over my farm, who won't give me my farm to this day. And it's his counterpart. We went to court against the chief magistrate court judge that was trying to silence me. She didn't like me having a TikTok, y'all. And which is my First Amendment right. I have a right to say whatever I want on TikTok. And plus, you're an elected official, so you are subject to scrutiny. And one thing, if you know about me, I'm very careful in the things that I say. I'm very guided, in how I speak to you guys on the internet. I don't have a publicist that's going to sit here and clean stuff up for me. So if I don't know something, I'm not about to play. I'm about to make up. I'm not about to use my imagination like some of y'all do in the comment sections. I don't do that. I stick to the facts. Okay. So in this case, I would be found guilty. Needless to say, to make a long story a lot shorter, I'll be found guilty of stalking a chief magistrate court judge and given the highest order amount of time that you can be under this order in the state of Georgia. They gave me a 12-month order, and so that means now I lost my Second Amendment. I could not own a firearm. And they barred me, told me that I could not be on social media anymore. And they said this, get this, they said, you are not allowed in this courthouse anymore unless we're ruling on your farm, and
Okay,
barred me
but
for a year.
but how did they so did you know them? Like there by the way,
Yeah,
people are asking what state. This is Georgia, and Derek just
okay.
mentioned Georgia. But how did you even get associated with them for them to even be for you to be in this situation where they even had any chance of taking
Absolutely.
over your like what was the affiliation?
Absolutely. So the cohabitation, people have asked the question, well, how did they get into your home? So everybody, originally, how this all started was I'm the director, or the former director of one of the largest food banks that was in the region. All right. So therefore, I was involved in the community. I was also working with the juvenile courts. I worked for the homeless shelters. I was community. That was my job. My whole focus and perspective life was making a difference and helping people. I wasn't necessarily tracking on how a person looked. When I saw a need, I tried to meet it. Simple as that. The Hardy family, in particularly, Jordan Hardy, Janet Hardy, and Claire Hardy, the family, they would always come up to the food ministry. They'll always be helping, and they're volunteer. They showed up they were one of some of the dedicated volunteers. They would always, help, and they would donate. They would stay late, come early. They did all those things, and as someone that relies on people helping to fill in the gaps, it meant a lot. And they were some of the core people that helped out all the time. And I wasn't tracking on any behavioral issues or anything like that at the time. I just knew that, man, we thankful, man, that you helping it. By you guys being here, y'all helping a lot of people because we need it. I believe we served over 32,000 families that year or something like that. So
Wow.
we were rocking and rolling every sense of the way. Things got a little bit interesting, right? Because Jordan, the one that was in the video accosting me the day of my brother's death, the ones yelling at me saying your brother's dead and all those things, she had a substance abuse problem. Okay. Janet came to me, right? Because I was known as a good faith-based counselor. And I was always on the move and everything like that. But Janet came to me, she said, listen, hey Derek, you know, Jordan has a problem, okay? And she began to tell me a little bit about it. She told me about the substance abuse problem that she had and things like that. And she was like, "Can you please spend some time with her? She has a lot of respect for you. Can you please, spend some time with her and help try to get her into sobriety? Spend some faith-based counseling with her." I said, you know what, I can do that. I'll allocate once a week. We'll try to get together once a week, and we'll start figuring out what that needs to look like as far as those things. And through that time, over a course of several months, she finally was able to get in sobriety because of the work that was put in, and then her staying in perspective of serving and things like that. It helped her a lot. So we grew very close in that time, because obviously I'm being exposed to a lot of things going on in their family, in her mind, in her life, in her heart. So we grew very, very close. And as a family, they appreciated that work, because not only did they see the results of her getting to sobriety, she actually became a better person in that time as a byproduct of me spending that time with her and helping her in faith through faith-based counsel. So that's how we grew a relationship together. Okay, we grew
So
very, very, very
basically,
close in that time.
they really set you up. They literally set you up. And that's what I feel. I feel like,
Yeah,
they made sure that they built that trust with you. They put their kid in
yeah,
front of you, like, help my
yeah,
child. They're showing up
yeah.
to the food bank, they're
Absolutely.
volunteering their services. They're
Yeah,
doing the most, all right?
yeah,
And so I'm
absolutely.
sorry, I just wanted to just interject that.
No, absolutely. It was very clear that, and in my mind,
Strategic.
with everything, but it did seemingly look strategic. And like I said, I was not tracking on those things. And I just saw somebody that needed help. And then I grew very close. We did ministry together. And I was like, hey, listen, I just want to see this young lady do a bet, get better, get into sobriety, because her mom, she was really concerned that Jordan was going to lose her life as a byproduct of her substance abuse problem. So thankfully, she was able to get in sobriety. So then now this where things got a little bit interesting. Okay. Now we say, how did they get into your home? That's what we want to know. All right. Well, here you go.
Yes.
So,
The
so
people want to
Jordan,
know.
man, yeah, I know they're ready. Like, well, how did they get in your house? I get it. Tell me. Well, here you go, guys. So, after Jordan got in sobriety, it was some time later that she ended up having an unplanned pregnancy. Okay. And she was doing well, but she made a mistake, had an unplanned pregnancy, right? And in her household, right? As you guys seen videos of her father is a very top heavy kind of
Oh, we're
individual and
gonna we're
everything
gonna
like that.
show them. We're gonna be showing them. Yep.
So you guys gonna get a chance to get a flavor for him a little later if you're not familiar with this case. But to make a long story a lot shorter, he dictated that the child must be terminated. It is not optional. Jordan lives in the home with her parents, and he was putting a lot of pressure on her, saying it's not optional. The child will be terminated, right? And then finally, it got to the point that they couldn't reconcile as a family amongst themselves. And Janet and Jordan came to me one day. I was actually at my desk, and they brought this situation to me. They briefed me on what was going on. They said, hey, listen, this is a situation. Jordan cannot terminate the child. If she terminates the child, the potential that mentally she can't handle it, and she may be at risk of suicide and things like that. So I said, you know what? I listened to it for a while. We tried to, is there any other options? We went through is there any other options on the table? Because they knew that obviously I have a home that has spare bedrooms in it. Okay. We're not talking about the farm. This is before the farm. So this has nothing to do with the farm at this point. Right. This is my personal home in the city that I lived in at the time. And we talked for a little while, and we came up with this. Bottom line is that they didn't have any alternatives, right? They said, and I told them, this is my exact words to them. I said, listen, I don't like this. The way that it looks, it doesn't look good. But in order to save the child's life, okay, yes, Jordan, I'll let you move into my home. Okay. You can move into the spare bedroom. But Janet, you have to transition as well. Okay. Because I cannot take care of a child. That's not my context right now. I have a lot going on, but I can provide a safe environment for you guys. And I can, you to transition, Jordan. And I told Janet, and I made sure Janet knew you have to transition with her. I did not know that she and her husband already had arguments, and he was like, "Listen, if you support this child, you're getting out of the house too." So there was already dissension between them anyway. So they had to make decisions, right? And bottom line, my exact words, and listen, in order to save this child's life, this is what I'm willing to do. And that's exactly what I did. I allowed them to transition into my house. People say, well, wait, wait, wait. They're big multimillionaires. Number one, I was not tracking on their finances and all the properties and all the airplanes. I know nothing about a lot of that. I mean, obviously, I knew there wasn't like poor or broke or anything like that. I thought it was just normal. I didn't get into all that stuff. I didn't know, right? But the reason I had to be the one to do this is because, as you see through videos, Jordan can be a loose screw a lot of times, right? And I was the only person that provided guardrails for Jordan, and she had enough respect for me that I'm able to reel her back in and assist with the transition in real time. And Janet knew that she needed help with Jordan, right? So, what better place to be than with a faith based counselor who she actually trusts, has respect for, and listens to, right? That was also a big factor in this. That's how they originally ended up in my home.
So they end up in your home. You're, again, very strategic in the way that they're
Yeah.
doing things because if you're a
Yeah.
millionaire, you don't need to go live in anybody else's
Yeah.
home. You should go
Exactly.
buy a home for your kid. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Exactly.
it is very, very strategic on their part. But fast
Yeah.
forward to they're in your home now.
Yeah.
Were you living there with them or you just allowed them
Yes.
to live in your home? So you were living there
I
with
was
them.
there. I'm living there. Yes, it's my personal home. I live. This is my personal home. It's where I live. So yes, I was literally in my home, and I gave them the spare bedrooms. I had a couple extra spare bedrooms in my home that I gave to them. So we all cohabitated together. We were all in one house together.
So how did it come to be now that they've now taken over your home and you end up being the one forced out? So once you asked her that question, ADNC fam, then we're just going to look at an altercation that took place between Derrick and the Hardys when he was
Yeah,
basically saying, "Get out of my house," or, "I have every right to be in this home." But first, just tell us, how it came to be that they felt
absolutely.
their white privilege, which, I mean, that's not a surprise. But in context of this story, how they felt like they had any right to take this from you.
Absolutely. So later on, we know that the farm, when we would close on the farm in July of 2021, the company would be the deed holder, the sole deed holder of that farm. And we made it clear at the closing table at the most successful closing firm in Georgia that animals and the people we serve owns that property. And it's going to be that way, where it's an animal sanctuary, it's a place of ministry forever, right? And everybody, I am the 100% shareholder of that company. Okay. I'm the shepherd. God has put me in place to make sure that things are done in order and proper and in the context that it's been given to me as the founder to do so. And I trust these hands, not other people's hands. That's why no one else, not even Janet, ever had not one share in the company. It's very important that you guys know that the company that I own is a deed holder. All right. So as we would get into the farm, get into the property, everything in the property was strategically put there. The furniture. That's why there's the altercations about the furniture, animals. Everything is in an S corporation for a reason. It's all business. It's all ministry. This is not personal stuff. And the company owns everything. As a CEO and founder, despite just this is also corporate laws are involved in all this stuff too. Like I have a right to anything that's involved with the company. I have a right to all assets. I make 100% of decision power and consistent with my bylaws, the articles of incorporation. So you're going to see the altercations. My property end up being worth millions, right? After we purchase it, within six months later, our property value went through the roof, right? And then that's when Janet approached me and saying that she wanted to sell the property, that she was going to sell the property, and that's when we began to go head to head and go and butt heads
But
because like no
but
wait wait
how
wait
did
wait
she even have a say in use
Ex-
in
exactly. She never, and that's the thing though. That's why there's and now everybody says all these things. There's no document. There's nothing that she has no say about anything. Anything that was given and the help that they gave was help. It was like a humanitarian gift. And she said in her faith based contact, she was supposed to help. She that's her volition. Has nothing to do with me, right? And she didn't have ownership of anything. She didn't have any authority to make any decisions or anything. But in her mind, and
and her
whatever.
privilege
Exactly. So
and the white
therefore, in her
privilege,
mind,
the caucasity of it all.
in that moment, she knew that she could begin to exploit the situation coming against me. I'm a young black man in a county, right? That doesn't look like me, that doesn't operate in any sense of in any sense of the way like this. Now she thought that she could do that. She can take it by force. Hey, listen, I'm gonna say that I want it, and it's gonna happen that way. And of course, I have obligations to the ministry, to the organization, to every animal, 160 animals on this facility. We vow this will be their forever home, that they're not moving and all those things like that. And there was a decision that had to be made. I made it clear to Janet. I said, Janet, listen, we are not a car dealership nor a restaurant. If we close these doors, then things die. People could potentially die. So therefore, that's not a decision that we just say, hey, it's not about money, greed. This is not about greed. This is about what we have to do. We have a responsibility. I have a responsibility. And we would see later on, she will begin, before I get into what happened, I told Janet, last conversation we had, I said, listen, this is a lot. I know it's a lot. I said, there's an attorney that me and you both have respect for. He's a very well respected attorney. Let's go sit with him and come up with a resolution. All right. That's the last time we spoke. She said no. You know what she did? She got on the phone and she called the police and she said a black man is trespassing on my property. I will be
Wow.
outside taking I will be outside taking care of my animals. When I'm looking down, I have a very long driveway. I saw all these squad cars coming down my driveway, a gr- with a height going down my driveway fast. So I knew something was up. I already knew what was going on, and that would be the start of everything that would come. When those officers got there, I knew why they were there. I put my hands up. They were coming out of the cars, aggressive and everything like that. I told them who I was and say, listen, hey guys, my name is Derrick Williamson. I'm the homeowner here. I own the deed is in the company, the corporation's name. I own everything, all the animals, all the property, everything is owned by me. Then they informed me that they received a call that a black man was trespassing on his property, and you have proof that this is of who you are and that this is what you say is true. And I said, well, if you allow me to go inside, I do have corporate documents and the deeds and all those things like that that I'm very willing to show you guys if you guys will let me just walk get it. So of course they walked with me to go do that, of course. But that's where it all started. And they began to manipulate the system. Police obviously did not believe me. They saw documentation. They saw everything. They saw deeds. And in my case, it's unique too. I have a superior court ruling from the highest court has already ruled on this matter that says Derrick and his company owns everything. There's nobody's taking anything. He is a deed holder. And that's that. The court has ruled. Took that into Morgan County. Morgan County's like, we don't care what a court says. And Morgan County, this is how we do it. Law enforcement, remove them. Or law
And
enforcement, we don't abolition. Go ahead.
what really mystifies me is, well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but
Yeah,
I happen to know Morgan County doesn't have a very large black presence there. So that's the first thing, right?
absolutely.
Would I be right
Absolutely.
in saying that?
You are absolutely
And
right.
then you have
Absolutely right.
these people, the caucasity, okay, of calling the police and using their,
Yeah.
weaponizing you, right, with their
Yeah.
whiteness, and then the
Yeah.
police come and they drive you out. Now, let's look at the altercation that you actually had with them, the Hardys, and then we'll talk about the fate of the Hardys,
Yeah.
and then we'll talk about. We'll look at what happened with when the police came, and was that the second time they came, or was that the first time they
They
came?
came, they came countless amount of times. And the video that
Okay,
I believe you're about, there's so many times. But the video that you're about to show, I believe that was the third time they came
okay, so we'll
that you're
look at
showing next.
the altercation to show how much they use their whiteness to weaponize, because in
Yeah.
this particular video, the man Hardy, the Hardy man, really put on the performance of a lifetime, which is typical of what we see now with the Beckys in them and the Karens and the Kens. So let's just watch.
Get away from me! 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 Quit hitting me! Get away from me! Quit hitting me! Get away from me! Stop! Get your hands off me! Oh shit! Get your hands off me! Get your hands off me!
Again, because I'm not gonna keep on letting you put your hands on me.
Get out of the house! This isn't your house!
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Move. 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 Get your hands off me.
James Hardy shows up to Derrick's home, vandalizes his GMC Sierra 2500, and tried to whip Derrick with a fishing pole. He also assaulted Derrick, leaving several bruises that were documented by officers who responded to that incident.
Hey man! I go get out. You got to call Uber. You got two choices. You know, whip you with your fishing pole, or we're gonna call 911.
Dad, don't do that.
You got your choice.
He's gonna start.
You're aggravating my family.
All right, let's just call.
I just want to pause for a second to just take note of the fishing pole in this man's hand. This man is fully holding a fishing pool. Sorry, I can't even get my words together. A fishing pole, okay, to use. And if you think about it, it's very eerily familiar with historical context, right? With back in the day of the slaves getting whipped, right?
Yeah.
911 or go back to the court.
You waited the one day and you came out, and the court battle is not finished yet.
Well, that's okay. We'll call.
All right, go ahead and call. Deputy Odom is who it is, and we'll go back in front of the judge.
That's all. We'll order the same thing until it's over with.
I'd suggest you get out of here. But you're gonna have to call Uber.
Strangest thing happened again, though. During the officers responding to that incident with James Hardy, someone again called Judge Holt. The judge proceeding over their case. The judge again interfered, ordering the officers to charge James Hardy with simple assault instead of the simple battery charges that the officer was originally going to charge James Hardy with. The officer actually referenced the judge's interference in the police report to make it clear that he did not agree with the judge's decision to charge simple assault as opposed to simple battery, which is a more serious charge in the state of Georgia. I want to remind you all that these incidents all happened the night of Derrick's brother's fatal accident.
So I'm just going to pause. Let us just unpack what we just saw. So you're in the home, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the home, and then they're telling you to get out. He's got the
Yeah.
fishing pole. They do what they do best, Becky and Brad,
Yeah.
what they do best. Let's call the police. The police show up now, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets charged with a simple assault, which is the complexion for the protection. I'm actually surprised there was any charge.
Mhm.
And then this happened on the very day that your brother tragically
Yes.
passed away. So you're
Yes.
dealing with all of these things. These people are in your home. Your brother has lost his life. They're calling the
Yeah.
police. And again, this is your home. This
Yeah.
is what's really just paining me right now. This is your home.
Yeah. And all that, yes, yeah, that was a lot. And and when I see it, I've seen this. And when you think about
You
just the
get
gravity of
emo.
it, it's
Yes.
like it's crazy because in those videos you see him hitting himself and saying that I
Yes,
did it.
they love to do that. They love. He doesn't even deserve an Oscar. It is
Yeah,
so
it's horrible.
typical of this
And
despicable behavior by
it's
these
horrible.
folks.
I went to jail for that. I've never. They arrested me for the first time in my entire life that night. They said that it was my fault, that I did it. I'll find myself in that actual the other video. Actually, the police have been out so many times. Okay, that video, that him hitting himself in the face, right? My brother passed the week before. It was the week before that, right? So it was a week and a half or so before that he passed away. All the video of the daughter accosting me and screaming at him, vandalizing the vehicle, of trying to whip me with a fishing pole. He did that on the day of and whip trying to beat me with a fishing pole. That happened the day of my brother's death. Okay. Fast forward later, right, to where he's hitting himself in the face. That's actually the day of the funeral. And
Oh
after I
my
buried my
God.
brother that day, law enforcement will take me into custody, face plant me on the ground. It messed up my back and my shoulder. I had to be in therapy for several months, and it was I left home in an ambulance that day from law enforcement, brutalizing me at my home, throwing me face planting me on my beautiful stone concrete, my stone porch, right? They took me to hospital. I was treated medically and given medicines and things like that. And that law enforcement was waiting for me at the hospital the night of my brother's funeral. And they took me into custody, put me in handcuffs despite my injuries and all those things. They ripped my injuries more, put me in handcuffs, knowing that I'm injured. and all those things. And I was also injured. I was actually in an arm brace because I was injured. Though I was supposed to be wearing my arm brace. I was injured too with the last ordeal from Hardy. And then they tried. So when they tried to detain me, put me in the handcuffs, said, "Listen, y'all can't. My shoulder. I have metal. My shoulder's already messed up. I can't bend it back." They ripped it back anyway. And I would stay in that cell the night of my brother's funeral. They took my phone from me. I sat in that cold cell by myself. Didn't even have this little nasty little like that the woolly little woolly pad thing and this little thin blanket. But I would stay in that cell with nobody and nothing. And to be going to jail and be tortured by those officers taunting me, those correction officers taunting me. I just wouldn't even speak anymore. I I, I suffered a lot. I suffered a lot. A part of me died that day in that cell. You know, first time
Yeah,
being
I
incarcerated.
can I can only imagine. Now, let me just ask you something. Do you have any was this your only brother?
No, it's not my only brother. I have other siblings as well too, but he is my oldest brother and my biggest supporter, my best friend. He actually lived with me actually. His wife and kids actually live with me. So it's really, really tough. And on top of that, what makes the situation so much worse is it happened literally just a couple miles, 2 miles down the road. So I was actually and I got to the scene and saw him there, gone on the side of the road that
And
day.
how old
So and
was
they
he?
knew that. It was 29.
20. Oh my
29
god.
at the time.
So
So
my
they knew that.
question is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Mm.
cut you off.
No, no,
My
I'm just saying
question
they
is,
saw him.
um,
Yeah.
you have siblings. Like, where's your squad, basically? Why
That's a good
aren't your
question.
squad pulling up and saying, you know what?
Absolutely.
Heck no, this isn't
I told
happening.
everyone. I like that question because a lot of people ask that in the media. I've told my family to stand down. This is very
Why?
dangerous. Because it is very dangerous. These people have threatened my life. These people have no guardrails. They have a lot of power and money, and my family are not to be a direct target of these people. When you're dealing with somebody that's aggressive like me and that's aggressive like me, that doesn't back down, there's not a lot of ways to hurt people like me other than so you hurt the family. That's where you target them. And my family, I'm not putting them in the bullseye zone. I don't talk about my family a lot for a reason. It's intentional. I make it very difficult to find my family. I love my family dearly, but I keep them out of battle. My family want to get involved. They want to be knee deep in all this. Believe me, they do. But they respect my wishes to stand down. We're dealing with people that do not have guardrails. And it's sad to say this, but it's reality. I don't know which day I'm going to be ambushed. I don't know which day something's going to happen to me. The threats I receive online, being called a nigger, all this kind of stuff, all this stuff that happens to me. You guys see these comments, and then the people, and then I got judges that I've exposed that hate me. I got law enforcement waiting to pull the trigger. I got millionaire families that have practiced illegal activity and all these things like that. You got one black man that won't die and won't stand down. I have to protect my family. And I
I
told them, as
understand.
much as they don't want to, I keep them out of media. I don't talk about them much. I don't use their names much. My brother's gone. They can't hurt him anymore. He's gone, unfortunately.
Okay,
So that's why.
understood. I am really sorry about the loss of your brother.
Yeah.
It's just one heartbreak after the other.
Yeah.
But let us also talk about this
Yeah.
couple, because this
Yeah.
is really a very important piece of this ever like a roller coaster, okay, of events that are happening.
Yeah.
But this particular couple that was in this video with
Yeah.
the fishing pole and everything else, family, are you ready for this? They're not even alive anymore. These two people, the Hardys, ended up being unalived in a plane crash. Yet, even with them no longer being here, Derrick is still in this situation. So this fight continues because they have
Yeah.
other family members that are living in that home, right?
They do. They do. The children are in videos are living at home. James Hardy, his mother is living in my home. I've been trying to get her out as well. She's a big, 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 big millionaire. She owns half of Florida, so she's in my home as well too. Um, and their boyfriends, all the girls' boyfriends are in my home. Everybody,
So it's a whole big old apple pie avalanche, just a bunch of avalanche Avengers that have taken over your home, even though
yeah,
the two main people responsible, I would say, that started this
yeah,
whole theft isn't even here
yeah,
anymore. And it seems
yeah,
to me like they have law enforcement in their back pocket, which is
Absolutely.
why
And
you're
judges,
in this struggle. So let's look at the video of when the police, another out of many times where the police came, but you really stood on business in this one, which I love.
I
You
did.
stood your ground. So let's watch
Yeah.
this, and then you could tell us what happened, after the camera cut off.
Not
Okay.
as much as you don't want me to be a resident here, I am. You can't get over that. I am a resident. I am. I am a Morgan County resident, and you cannot get over that. Let's would you like to go ahead? I mean, this is my home, and this is my home. Hey, everybody, I'm getting ready right now. I'm here at my home in Morgan County, Georgia, that I have the deed to. That's my residence that I have a Supreme Court ruling to. That my cars are registered. That my license is to. I think last. Do you still have my license?
No, I got it back.
Okay, so maybe you did. Okay, here we go. That my license are registered, and this officer is going to tell me that I don't live in my own home. Why are you trying to remove me from my home?
You don't live here.
I do live here. This is my bedroom. This is my room. I do live here. I live here, and I'm not leaving because I live here. So therefore, you don't have a right to put.
No. You don't go to your own bedroom because you know ain't none of your stuff.
Let's go in the bedroom. Would you like to go? I will show you. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go look then. Let's go look. So we're going to my bedroom. This officer is trying to remove me from land. He has no right, no authority to do anything. Here, come on in. And they're harassing me, and I want them off my private property. Hey, actually, you guys got to get a warrant. I don't want you on my property. You got to get off my property. No, this is my property. I'm not leaving. You need to get a warrant. Go get a warrant. Because you're trying to move me from my land. That's my constitutional right. This is my bedroom. This is my home. You're gonna have to. This is my bedroom, and everything belongs to me. I'm not leaving because this is mine. You can't tell me. You don't even tell me. You have no right to tell me to move my home. This belongs to me. This TV belongs to me. This is mine. This is mine. This bed belongs to me. That belongs to me. Everything, a workout equipment in there goes to me. Every radio in my command station belongs to me. Everything in this bathroom belongs to me. My lawyer has every receipt to everything in this room. So therefore, this is my furniture in my room. You have no right to tell me I'm leaving.
You wear girls' clothes?
No, I do not wear girls' clothes.
Those are all girls' clothes. Just curious.
But no, this is my bed. I pay this my TV, my bed. Let's go in the bathroom. Everything. My basket. Right here. My basket. My shower. My stuff. This is all my stuff. I have receipts to everything, every candle. No, these are not those are not my kids'
So we
toys.
got women's clothes, we have kids' toys.
So what are you implying? Be clear. What are you implying about women? What are you
Pretty much
implying?
what I've been saying for the last 15
Okay,
minutes.
but it's not relevant because this is my home. I own this. This is my home, and this is where I am. This is my bed, and on this I have receipts to my bed, and this is my home. So, yeah. So this is my home, and I'm not leaving. You guys have no right to bother me. Why are y'all here? Do not bother me. Leave me alone. Get out of my house.
Sergeant last 6 and type up a trespass notice.
Oh.
You're not allowed here.
If you can't type it up because it's my home, it's illegal. You can't do that.
Okay, well then you can take that to the courts.
Okay, you can't take, but you can't. I'm not. But it's my residence. How are you constitutionally removing me? Why are you removing me from my home? Why?
I can do it if a husband and wife get into an argument
But
or something.
we're
and
not-
she wants her husband gone.
Well-
you can trespass him from his own home.
But you
trespass.
you can't trespass me. It's my home. What legal right? They're not on a deed. They're not on a lease. They're on nothing. You can't trespass me. It's my home. Go get them to produce evidence. Go get a document saying that this is their home or that they live here, or that their residence here. Go produce it. I produce my license. My cars are registered here. I own this furniture. I'm on my bed right now. You're on my land. Every bill here is in whose name? My name. The light bill. My name. And the mortgage. My name. Everything. So therefore, you cannot remove me nor trespass me from the bed and the home that I sleep in. This is my home. I live here. And my cars are registered here. So you can't do that.
Let you ramble for a second. I got a question for you. When's the last time you've been here?
I haven't been here in over a week. That is correct.
Okay, you haven't been here for over a week.
And I'm not speaking anymore. I have not been here over a week, and I'm not speaking to you anymore because I don't have to.
So we're done talking, or
We
you
are.
just done talking?
Well, I'm done talking because you can't remove me. It's against the law. You know that. It's my home. I have a license. This is my residence. This is my address. My vehicle that's here is registered to this property. This is my home. This is my bed. I have receipts and my lawyers, and I gotta get. Let me try to call Melinda. And my lawyer, but I want to stop recording because y'all do crazy stuff and injure me and all that stuff. No, y'all manipulate and throw away evidence and stuff. Y'all do all that. So anyway, like I said, why are you in my room? Can you please get out of my house? You don't have a right to be here.
I've allowed you to vent and go through all the stuff that you're talking about, okay? And now it's time to go. Okay, I'm not leaving without you.
So let me understand you clearly. So let me ask you this. So you're saying if I don't get off my bed in my home that I'm a resident at, that I've showed you documentation, you have not been able to show not one document of your allegations. I'm showing you legal paperwork of where I am.
I'm showing legal paperwork. I am here in my room on my bed that I own. I have the receipt to this bed. I have the receipt to that. That's my TV. Everything here belongs to me. This officer is claiming that I don't live here with a license right here with my address and my resident. It says my resident. I am a resident of Morgan County. A resident of Morgan County. A resident of Morgan County. You're not removing me because that's not fair. That's not right. It's my home. Somebody just told you something. I say, go get a document. Go get proof to remove me unconstitutionally. Go do it. Go get proof. Go get a document to remove me unconstitutionally.
This ain't a court of law.
But you follow the law. You're a law. You are under oath to follow the United States Constitution and law. Do not violate my rights and tell me something that you cannot do. You don't have a right to tell me to leave my home because you just told me you served me. You don't, on what grounds? What legal grounds you have?
I can tell people to leave their homes all the time.
No, you can't because that's illegal to do that unless it's.
Let's go back to the husband.
I'm not a husband. I'm not anybody's husband. I'm not a husband. I'm not anybody's husband. I'm not anybody's husband.
Okay.
I'm not anybody's husband.
If I've got somebody who
I'm not anybody's
live in
husband.
a house, if I have a landlord.
No, I live in a house. I'm not a landlord. This is my residence. You can't speak to me as a landlord because I'm not a landlord.
I can't make anybody leave.
Yeah, and so there is exigent circumstance where you can, but this is not one of those. I'm in the full parameters of my constitutional rights. Excuse me?
Those aren't exigent circumstances that I was talking about.
Those are circumstances where you potentially could make. I'm not a landlord. This is my residence.
A landlord tenant is one of the circumstances you're talking about.
And if you spoke of landlord tenant law a little while ago, a landlord cannot. He does not live there. He cannot. If there's a rental agreement, he can't just go. He has to give notice. I'm not a landlord. I am a resident. This is my home. I am a resident. On what grounds you say I'm not a resident?
You have to reside.
This is my residence.
No.
According to Morgan County record, I am a resident of this county. You cannot, as much as you don't want me to be a resident here, I am. You can't get over that. I am a resident. I am. I am a Morgan County resident, and you cannot get over that. As bad as evil as you are, and as evil and hateful and disgusting of officer as you are, you can't get over that. That's why you do bull crap like this.
Now you just took it to like a personal level.
No, it's not personal. No, you are evil. Look at you. You threaten me. You have been very facetious. You've been very condescending. You have violated my constitutional right to be here. You're telling me things that are not accurate. You're telling me that you can all operate off your own illegal volition. You're telling me I'm not a resident of a home that I have documentation and proof that this is my home. And then guess what you say? Hey, get this. This man tells me he comes into my home, in my bedroom, on my bed, and this man tells me you're leaving either way. I said, on what grounds? He tells me I can remove a wife. I've heard, do you remember Judge Holt said the same thing? I can remove a wife and I can move a husband from a home. Well, guess what? There's still laws involved with that. So for the record, you guys are about to arrest me for what? What am I being arrested for?
I'm done talking to you.
So what am I being arrested for? I'm about to turn the camera off. We about to do it. Huh?
I'm done talking to you.
So what am I being arrested for, please?
I'm done talking to you.
Okay, so are you placing me under arrest?
Do you not understand what I just said? Done talking.
Okay, so are you about to place me under arrest?
We're just going to hang out until Sergeant Blanchard's done doing what he's doing.
Okay. And let me ask, are you placing me under arrest? Are you about to place me?
You're under arrest?
Huh?
You're under arrest?
I'm asking you, what is your intent? If I don't get off my bed and get off my residence and my bed right now, are you telling me that if I don't leave, you're going to violate my constitutional right and you're about to false imprison me? I need to know that.
I guess we'll just find that out.
So you're right there. You're not going to tell me whether you're going to place cuffs around me and arrest me in my home. You can't tell me that, but you've had all this.
That's normal.
You tell me that you're going to place me under arrest or not?
Yeah. Do you think that's normal? We go ahead and give people a heads up that we're hey, we're fixing to arrest you in a few minutes. Do you think that's normal? No, that's not normal. So. Okay. You just keep streaming and doing your video.
Okay. Well, everybody, you see, this is a gentleman. So this right here, we're going to make him, I'll be calling indisputable. He's going to be famous for violating my constitutional rights. He's trying, obviously he said I will be removed by force a little while ago. So therefore, that's fine. I've done nothing wrong. This is my home. This man is telling me that I'm not a resident here. And yet I asked him, what is his claim to make such? You don't live here. I'm a resident here. I live here. I know you don't. But yet.
Okay. Just for the sake of time, I think we got an idea of what you went through. And, I'm just furious. I'm furious watching this. Ultimately, though, what happened? Did they end up arresting you and taking you out?
I ended up posting another video directly after that. So the sergeant comes back into the room and he has papers. He says, listen, He says, "You are being criminally trespassed from your property. I understand you're the owner." Says it. I know you're the owner. I understand that. But I'm criminally trespassing you for 1 year. You are not
How do
allowed
you
back on this property.
criminally trespass somebody who owns a property? And that's the other thing. And I know this for Canada, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
When somebody is what they consider to be a squatter, which you're not,
Right.
but I'm just saying,
Right.
the
Right.
process is that you go to what we call here the LTB, which is the Landlord and Tenant Board, and you have to
Mhm.
file papers. It's a whole process. The
It
police,
is.
even if you call the police will say to you,
Can't do
we
anything.
can't get involved in this.
Can't do
You got to go
anything.
through the process. So the fact that those police officers were even there and talking about they're going to arrest you and you ended up getting taken out is the most like beyond despicable. And
Yeah.
I'm furious. I'm sorry. You go
Me
ahead and
too.
just
And
tell us what ultimately happened here.
ultimately, it's horrible. I got the you know everybody can go watch. That's part. I believe that's part 3 in my series of videos. And that officer, he tells me he criminally trespassed me. I said, so if I don't sign this, I'm going to jail, right? He said, yes, absolutely. I refused to sign it. And he told the other officer, he said, 95. And the officer proceeded to
So
aggressively
many
walk
other
towards me and pulled
farmers.
his
Oh,
handcuffs out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
he
Go
tried
ahead.
to pull his and he pulled the handcuffs out to arrest me. I said, wait, that was the day this that was actually the week of my brother's death, and I didn't want to go sit in that jail. I don't know what they're gonna do to me in there. And so I said, you know what? I want to leave, I'll leave. You guys got it. He pulled the cuffs out to arrest me. He said, are you sure you're gonna leave? I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I had to make sure they were gonna put me in cuffs first. And so they forced me by force. The Hardys were able to weaponize the police department. They're moving me off my land. These officers know it. They know me. You got to think these officers have been in my house several times. They'll admit on video and in police reports, he's the owner. He's the owner. He's the owner. And then guess what? These people don't have to produce anything. Even a squatter has rights. What happened to mine?
This is beyond, like, it's the peak of just evil, the peak of white
Yeah,
privilege, the peak of
yeah,
despicable, the peak of violating the laws
yeah,
and the process and
yeah,
putting you, the owner, out and then prefacing by saying, "We know you're the owner, but
yeah.
but what?
But
But
what?
what? It's the folks that need to get out of your house, not you."
Exactly. And
So
it's
let me
corporate
just ask.
property.
I'm sorry.
And it's corporate. So even if they want to get technical, the corporation owns that land. So how can you tell a corporation founder, CEO, and shareholder he can't do business on his land? He can't be on his own
Exactly.
property. How can you give his property over to people that aren't even listed on the registry? That's illegal. That's corporate. Not just me as a human being, not just as a resident, and as a corporation. You take my business ability from me. I've not been able to operate, and I not been able to do any type of operations for years now. My animals, you took their home from them. And judges kicked me off my land with animals on the property.
Yeah, so
How can they do
that's what
this?
I wanted to get to. So we don't know where the animals are now, right? We don't know where.
Some of them have been stolen. There's a zoological facility that I used to be the vice president of. I left that facility. That's the reason I opened my own company, because of the corruption that was going on that with Nicole Canoy, Wildlife Critters Circle of Life Rehabilitation Center, and Animals on Set. The Hardys are not animal experts. When you start moving Asian water buffalo and things like that, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be wrangler. They had to bring an expert in that can do that. So who would you bring in other than a former somebody that I left in business for corruption? You bring another corrupt party in, and she served as the expert to physically wrangle and move my animals. She sold my animals across state lines. I imported animals into Georgia. I have import permits from Department of Natural Resources that were imported in. She sold them to other zoos. Those zoos, I would later make contact with those zoos and confirm with the sale of those animals, let them know that those actually belong to me, and letting them and advise them what happened. Some animals I don't know, like my Asian water buffalo, my boys. I don't know where they are. It's been reported to me locally that they've been slaughtered. I have not
Oh my
received the
gosh.
confirmation yet, and the police will not help me. They won't investigate it. I put investigations out for my fencing stolen, my animals stolen, all these reports I've made. Not one time have I ever been called to say, Mr. Williamson, we have an update for you. Mr. Williamson, we received your report. Mr. Williamson, your animals have been found. I became the investigator. I found my animals. I tracked them down, the ones that are still alive. I pay the zoo every month to keep some of my animals. Every month
So
till we go home. We don't have a home.
what about you though now? Like where so you're still not in your home. This is
Yeah,
5 years and counting. You're not in your home. You're still
yeah,
fighting. Your business basically is no longer. What
yeah.
are you doing now? Where are you living? What are you doing to survive and pay your bills and all of that stuff? What where are you at now?
I had to go back to working. I had to go back to work in a warehouse full time, and I have
Ugh,
to, in order to pay, and I in a surgical cast boot, I have to go work 60+ hours a week, and I had to hold down 2 jobs at times, to be able to pay for to pay zoos, to pay lawyers, pay for another home because I can't be in my home. And sometime when they didn't pay the mortgage on the farm and Janet didn't pay the mortgage, I had to pay the mortgage out there as well while paying for a rental property too, and paying the zoo and paying my an attorney. And it was just, and I've been doing this for years now. And it's like I'm out of resources. And it's like that's why I'm back in meeting again, man. I'm tired. Like this is horrible. Like I can't. And when I watch these videos, I'm like, dang, that's me. And it's like people think they say, oh, this is like like a little story they're watching. Man, this could be you. If they can do this to me on this scale, imagine when they come for your residential property. It's real funny when
exactly.
people are looking at it from that side of the camera. But to me, like you guys should be fighting with me. Y'all should be warring with me because you have to stop. You have to set a precedence for things like this. I'm on the national stage, millions on millions on millions on tens of millions of views, but there's been no victory, right? There's been no help that comes and changes this yet. It's sad because if I didn't look like this, I wouldn't be on this show today in this interview.
Exactly. But the other thing I also want to ask is, do you have a good attorney? Because you definitely need a really good attorney that is in it to make sure that you
Yeah.
are made whole, you get your property back. Do you have a good attorney?
So right now, I have a civil defense attorney, a local civil defense attorney, and she's doing the best she can to fight this, but she doesn't sue governments or sue people. All she did is trying to defend my deed. I need a federal attorney that can come in and bring charges against people, sue probate, sue judges, and sue police departments. I don't have that, and they know
Everybody
that.
needs to be sued. There needs to be a suit
Yeah,
on everybody, including
everybody,
the family that's still in there. Everybody
absolutely,
needs to be sued.
everyone.
We need
But
we
I
need
can't
like
find
a
anybody.
Ben Crump. We need a Ben Crump.
Exactly,
We need a powerhouse attorney.
exactly.
We also we need a powerhouse attorney, that's for sure.
Yeah,
We need you to get your land back, your home back. We
yeah,
need that to happen. But
yeah,
also, what is the lesson here? Because what
yeah,
I will say, in closing, is that this is an example of a young Black man who's an entrepreneur, who stands on business, who works hard, who has built a business for himself, built a beautiful home for himself. All of the stereotypes don't exist with
yeah,
Derrick Williamson, right? Here is a man that is doing right. And here is a man who trusted the folks, okay? And trusted the folks, helped them out when they needed help, didn't have to do any of that. You really didn't. They're millionaires. They should be able to take care of their own stuff. They definitely targeted you. But I guess for me, this is kind of an example of how we as Black people can be very trusting, very
yeah,
peaceful, very the
yeah.
antithesis of what they are. If we were to flip this around, do you think that they would do that? If it was you in Morgan County, Georgia, it wouldn't have happened.
Of course
This is
not.
a prime example, though, of how we Black people are, right?
Yeah.
So I guess what's the lesson here? And yes, I just want to go over to some people here. He does have a GoFundMe. It's in the description field. I was going to get to that as well. It's in the description field. So please, please, everybody, go to the GoFundMe, click on that
Yes.
link, help Derrick out. Also
Thank you.
share it across so that we can get all the help for Derrick. And please, if anybody knows of any attorneys, share this broadcast. We need some really good attorneys, if not one, a team. We need to get
Yeah.
Derrick back his home. We need to kick these avalanche Avengers out of this house. They have done enough. This is 5 years and counting. Enough is enough. Those two people, the biggest, despicable human beings involved, are not even alive anymore. And he's still dealing with this.
Yes.
So yes, this happened in Morgan County, Georgia. You got people still asking. So what would you like to say in closing?
In closing, I would just like to say that one thing, like you said it best, I did everything right. I did everything with attorneys, airtight, corporation airtight. Usually people in my situation, they made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. So I'm not going to talk about going back and procedurally doing things right. I'm not going to focus on that. I did that. I'm going to say when you get in a situation like me, when they're going to grossly violate the law and violate your rights and violate everything that you do, purpose to fight to the end. And when you feel like you can't fight anymore, look within yourself and ask God to give you strength to keep winning, to keep fighting and stay to fight. So that's in my context. To those that did it all right, document wise, there's no loophole. Nobody don't share deeds with you. When you get in my situation, they're going to violate the law. You just be just as resilient to win as they are to violate.
I love it, Derrick. And you know what? We stand with you. I see in the comments, a lot of people are saying they stand with you, bro. A lot of people are asking where the
Thank you.
GoFundMe is. The
I
link is in the
appreciate it.
description field. And
Appreciate it.
also tell them where they can find you so that if they want to,
Yeah.
want to go even just show some love to
Yes.
you, tell them where they can find you.
Absolutely. My social media is my Facebook. Just type in Derrick with 2 R's, Derrick Williamson, with SON. And you can find me on Facebook. Just go or Google me. It's all on there. And TikTok at Derrick 4 Wildlife 007, and you can go see all the crazy videos. Go see everything. Please follow me on social media because I like to stay in contact. Those that are supporting me in this journey, I do support other justice fights as well because when I'm in a layover, why not use the platform to help others too? So I do support others. So just please get on my social media with me and connect me. Feel free to message me if you have any help or know someone that can help. I'm pretty good about getting back to everybody eventually. It's a lot of messages, but I do try to filter through them. So I thank y'all for having me on today. Miss Emma, thank you for having me on today. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to tell my story. And it's encouraged me to stay in the game and keep fighting till the end.
You
Not
are
giving up.
most welcome, Derrick. And like I said, we are with you. And, you and I are going to stay in touch. I'm going to,
Absolutely.
keep following. And I'm going to be sure to share everything across. And again, I encourage all the viewers to do the same. If you can't find the GoFundMe in the description field, follow Derrick, like he said, on his Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
And also
So-
helptheark.org. You can go to helptheark, like Noah's Ark.org, and there's ways to give. It's all on my website too. So you can go to my website, helptheark.org. There's Cash App at Help the Ark, so whatever you want to do, if you want to help. And please, mainly tag people that can help me win, guys.
Yes, let us get some real people like the powerhouse attorneys and everything involved. We need to hashtag get Derrick's land back. Hashtag let us help Derrick. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. We need to make sure Derrick is made whole. Like I said, Derrick, thank you for coming and telling your story. Thank you for keeping this, this story at the top and not buried in the algorithms. Keep sharing, keep on sharing, stay up. We're with you. We're with you. Like I said, more and more people are in here in the chat saying that they are with you. They're standing with you.
Thank you.
Please, like I said, please share the GoFundMe. Please support Derrick. Please follow him on his socials. And I will also stay in touch. And we will probably have a part 2. We'll do a follow-up. We'll be back.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Derrick, again. And as I said, we're with you and we will keep sharing the updates. So we will be back again. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate everybody.
Bye.